Okay, so I'm going to refer to my notes a lot in this video, and apologies for that. It might not be the most professional thing, but there was a lot of stuff that happened, and there's no way I'm going to be able to remember it all. And that was before Brock Lesnar won Money in the Bank. And if you can't believe that what I just said, stay tuned because it's real and it's just as mad as it sounds. So, the pre-show was the pre-show. It was fine. Um, More kind of kicking the brand split to death with a Raw tag team being the number one contenders for the SmackDown tag titles. I really don't like that because I thought the brand split was a fantastic thing to come into the company because it allowed for more stars to be made if they're separated onto two brands. But the suits got to have their way, I guess. So we opened with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I genuinely did think that the Carmella injury was a shoot because it looked like Mandy was going to do a spot with Carmella after she injured her leg, and she's like, "No, no, get away! I'm really hurt." So that was good. They worked me great. Really liked the finish. I legitimately thought that Mandy was going to win, and fair play to Sonya for being able to carry her up the ladder like that. It was really, really impressive. But Bailey won, great. She'd hold on to it for a cup of coffee, which I'll get to when I get to it. Where were we? Oh yeah, Joe Mysterio. The biggest takeaway I had from this is Dominic. Okay, so Mysterio won, but Joe's shoulders weren't down, so kind of dodgy booking there. The feud must continue, I guess. What are you doing just standing there, you absolute turkey? Just save your dad. What are you doing? I get that Joe's a scary bloke, but you look useless, and uh, uh, that kind of pissed me off. And that was before the cage match. And this was the part of the show where I started to think it was becoming like a WCW pay per view in 2000. Just good wrestlers doing good wrestling with it all being undone by completely nonsensical booking. So a rope break, getting to the ropes for a submission doesn't cause a rope break. But when Shane gets his legs on the ropes off a skull crushing finale on a chair, the ref stops his count. No bullshit. And then he also kicked out of a frog splash off the top of a cage, which was stupid, and won. And then he won. Oh, it was just super Shane, and it was rubbish. And then to kind of compound my misery, they advertised Super Showdown as being as good as or better than WrestleMania. Okay, the Goldberg Undertaker hybrid theme in like the song and the video package, it was cool. It's it was 10 times better than the match is gonna be. So what was next? Oh yeah, Sami Zayn was tied up by his ankles, hanging by his ankles in the backstage, which was funny. I legitimately thought it was Bray Wyatt who did it. Uh, Obviously Braun Strowman was the chief suspect, but he didn't do it, and Triple H confronted him about it. And do you remember at the end of Survivor Series 2017, it looked like we were going to get Triple H versus Braun Strowman? How long ago does that feel? So then we had the Cruiserweight match, which was on the main card, but the crowd was dead. And I feel so bad for those 205 guys, but it's kind of a paradox of the Cruiserweight title always being on the pre-show. It's been on the pre-show so often that fans are conditioned to not care about it, and when it finally is on the pre-show, like it probably deserves tonight, the crowd just aren't conditioned to care, and so they don't. And it's just another example of great wrestlers being torn down by atrocious booking. Mm. Okay, okay. I'm gonna stop getting angry now because now we're gonna get on to the good stuff. Um, Becky. Fun fact about this T-shirt, actually. I tried to order it in time for WrestleMania, but it came the morning after, so I got to bust it out tonight. And so Becky fought Lacey Evans first. I liked Lacey Evans' money cannons. That was cool. The match was fine, a bit clunky at times. The finish was weird. Like why didn't the ref count? Was late Becky's shoulder being up part of the story? I don't know. But then Lacey immediately tapped out. But then Charlotte immediately came out and initiated the SmackDown Women's Title match, which I thought was great healing. It made me furious at her, which is what she needs to be. Um, the finish, I think, was very clever. It protects Becky. It continues the feud with Lacey. Um, and it'll probably lead to a match at Extreme Rules because obviously they're not going to Saudi Arabia. And then Bailey happens. Now there are two sides to this. Charlotte was cashed in on again, good. Bailey's the champion again, great. She's won both her championships from Charlotte. That's a nice little coincidence. But Money in the Bank has now been cashed in at three of the last four Money in the Bank pay-per-views, and twice in a row for the women. Now it was a good combination of the two. It was 26. It was a combination of 2016 where a face cashed in on a heel, and 2018 when it was the women's Money in the Bank contract being cashed in. It did feel a bit like a rehash, and it kind of took away from Becky. I don't know how Becky's momentum is going to be moving forward because all the spotlight was on Bailey, but you can't not feel good for Bailey because Christ, she's been underutilized. But at the same time, I have a nagging feeling that this has only been done to pad Charlotte's number of title reigns. She got her ninth tonight. If she beats Bailey, she'll get her 10th, and I wouldn't put it past them to end Bailey's title reign like that. Also, there was another part of me that thought that Bailey winning the title was was meant to be an implicit fu to Sasha. I try not to be negative, and I'm going to look at the positive. So congratulations, Bailey, well overdue to get a moment in the sun, and you have to hope against expectation that they don't screw it up. Uh, so yeah, Elias beat up Reigns at backstage. Did a thing with an electric guitar. He was entertaining. Then Roman came out, spear, done. We all knew Roman was going to win, so might as well get it done quickly. And it was at this point, actually, where the Game of Thrones season finale was starting. It's probably over now as I'm recording this. I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I didn't have anything to preoccupy myself. But I did have a real negative feel of the show because the best of the show was yet to come. That I was genuinely starting to think, are they trying to push people away from Money in the Bank and to go watch the Game of Thrones finale? I saw a great tweet by a guy called Justin Henry who writes who writes about wrestling. He said, "I'd love to see how many people the cameras can pick up watching HBO on their phones for Game of Thrones." Anyway, right. Rollins Styles was next. Yeah, Rollins Styles was next, and this great match, really, really fantastic match. I mean, I wasn't getting my hopes too high because I enjoyed the Styles Nakamura feud from last year, but I knew that it wasn't as good as it could have been because I'd seen their match in the Tokyo Dome. But it was a really good match. The stomp into a Styles clash was just delicious. And yeah, Seth retained. Don't really have any complaints. I'm actually glad that AJ didn't turn heel. I feel like that could be more of a slow burn sort of thing. There could be some mileage left in this feud. I don't know, but actually, do you know what? No, no. I just remembered what happened at the end of the night, so no, they're not revisiting this for a while. Um, then you had Kofi Owens, another great match. and good for Kofi to keep the train rolling. Um, yeah, just a really solid match. Great for face heel fundamentals, and it was the right call to have Kofi win. I think then they advertised um, Saudi Arabia again. Ick. Oh, before the Kofi match, the Lucha House Party got killed by a man who probably hates them based on their ethnicity. I'm being harsh. No, do you know what? Do you know what? Lars did apologize to the locker room for all those horrific comments he made, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But it's unlikely I'll ever cheer the guy, to be honest with you. And then the Money in the Bank match was great. Obviously, Zayn was taken out. Like I said, I thought it had been Bray Wyatt, so I was expecting him to pop up out of nowhere um, and be the eighth man. That didn't happen. I think Finn Balor really needs to get an X-ray on his back because he took sunset flip powerbomb on off the top of a ladder onto another ladder, and he hit it so hard that he bounced up off the ladder and hit it again. So he basically got powerbombs onto the ladder twice in a row, and that was before he got choke slammed onto not even the rungs of the ladder, but the edge of a ladder, which was awful, awful. Poor young man. Um, the false finishes really did get me. I was convinced Drew was gonna win. Then I was actually starting to believe that Ali was coming to win. And then Brock Lesnar came down. Turned out he was the eighth man in the match. Knocked Ali off the top of the ladder. Sauntered up like he was walking to the park. Took down the briefcase. It was the most Brock Lesnar thing that anyone's ever done. Never mind Brock Lesnar. He has this reputation for being lazy, but he really topped himself tonight. Just ran out, tipped Ali off the ladder, sauntered up the top, pulled down the briefcase. Brock Lesnar's Mr. Money in the Bank in 2019. And unless WWE really are insane, and it's not impossible, we're going to have a failed Money in the Bank cash in for the third year in a row for the men. And there were reports that they wanted to make the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match a star. I suppose Brock Lesnar is a star. He never needed the contract. I'm sorry, the image is still in my head of Brock Lesnar as Mr. Money in the Bank. This is madness. I need to lie down. Thanks for watching. Give us a like, subscribe.